want to talk about this energy that I'm feeling today. And I just got over like a really ratchet illness of sorts. And to me, it was like a purging or like a just divine intervention doing what it needed to do in order to get me where I needed to be. And at first I was really angry about that. And then I realized that regardless of why it was happening, it was happening for my benefit to some extent, right? Like when we get sick, if we think of it on a really basic level, it's our body going into recovery mode, which is why we're tired and we just need to rest. Like it's never something logically or, I would, like the victim me would go like, why? Like, why are you doing this to me? Like, what did I do wrong? And I realized that it's not like, what did I do wrong? It's this is what's needed in order to proceed. This is what's needed to get you where you're going. And so today is the first day I could leave bed. I was quite bedridden for 2 days. And I still have a very congested nose. But the energy flowing through me today and was from a different place. Like there was something else pushing the gas pedal today, so to speak. Like it wasn't this energy of like force and push and I talk about this often, or I have talked about this often in some of my other older videos, because I don't know why, but I have always been running I was going to choke on my dry throat. I've always been running these just like survival mode loops where I'm just in like a survival mode all day. And so I'm coming out of this like basically panic response to life and living life that way for an extended amount of time. And I still get stuck in it. I still get lost in it. But that whatever was driving like the bus before, or whatever was like hitting the gas on my motivation for life, or my direction, right? If we think about it like a car, like whatever gas was fueling the car, which was like survival and panic, and like after my 2 days or 48 hours of being horribly sick and but also being confirmed that it was just what I needed, like it because I have, with really big dreams, I feel this really big responsibility, and perhaps like this survival mode in me is like, yeah, like we're running out of time. Like there's so much to be done all of the time. Like there's so much that my being just wants to like cram into a 24-hour day. And it drives me insane how much I want to do and like want to take in and want to experience and want to navigate through a day versus what is logically possible. You know, like I have this presence in me that is like, we've got shit to do. And so I guess that's what feels like ignites this like panic response. You know, I know like survival mode is just running away from a discomfort that we're not feeling, right? Like survival mode is often triggered because of fear or lack, or, you know, survival mode was from hunger, shelter, in need of shelter, you know, being cold and wet. These things are what trigger survival mode. But obviously now it's different than just like those basics. But so we think of like survival mode now, like, oh, I don't have enough to pay my groceries at the till. Boom, survival mode kicks in. You know, like when your card declines or something. And then you're like, oh, no, I'll figure this out. Like, let me try again. Declines twice. You take things out of the basket, declines a third time anyways. Yeah, survival mode's gonna be like, whoop, 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 whoop. When I do that, I mean like your heart. Anyways, this is all. I will set the intention to make a video about survival mode because there's a lot that we could talk about survival mode. But basically, the experience that I'm having is that I've come out of survival mode by moving through these like really calming and restful and rejuvenating 48 hours, just like reflective and contemplative when you sit in a dark room for, you know, you can only watch so many movies and read so many books until you're like, oh my god, I just need like to stop taking in information, or like even meditating, or, you know, it's like a 48-hour meditation, even though it consists of electronics and journals and cards and spirit talk and meditation. And I don't know, it's as if like my body just not running the same pattern physiologically was like rewiring my brain. Like every time I get sick, it's like this little rewiring happening. This is what it feels like. I don't know why I'm doing that, but it does. It feels like I hate this fucking hair right now. Oh, I'm so sick of this hair. I can't wait for it to be like long again. Oh, drives me crazy, guys. Oh my gosh. I can't even look at it. I can't. It's fun if it sticks up. I want it straight up, but shit, what was I talking about? Yeah, survival mode. What was I talking about after that? Oh yeah. So it was like by not letting my body run the same physiological program, right? One of my favorite mentors would say, I think it was Tony Robbins, he would say, physiology first, because your body and your brain are in communication. And so if you're, you know how they say, like, stand like Superwoman for 60 seconds and smile at the ceiling, and it will actually start to produce more testosterone in your body. So when we change what we do physiologically, it changes what we do. It changes what our mental language is. It changes what communication is happening. And so by being bedridden for 2 days, I think obviously my body was like, we are resting. Therefore, my brain went into a resting place. And was able to relax long enough for that new physiological momentum to gain. Because I think that's what happens. I think that's what burnout is. I think that it really feels like, and I've done this so many times, especially after I hit my head and was diagnosed with post-concussion syndrome, where like overstimulation is a nightmare and it's everywhere and it happens rapidly, and your capacity for just like life and human beings in the outside world is at much less than a person without post-concussion syndrome. And you know, or I'm sure with like any head injury or like probably 50% of mental illnesses, they all have these similar side effects, which makes sense because if you're in survival mode in a severe way or excessively all the time, then that's draining a lot of your energy. So, I don't know where I was going. These are just my bedtime rambles. Oh yeah, so if my body, I feel like reset every time I get sick. And I notice that like I start to run the pattern where it's like I gotta do more, have more, be more, go, gotta pay more rent, gotta do more, this, gotta do, and then I get sick and boom. And I always get like all the subtle warnings, like rest, relax, recharge, calm down, go slow. Like all the signs. I will get it in the readings and my cards, and I'll have, you know, people in my life be like, hey, like take a rest day, or, you know, just, they have no idea what's going on. Life gives me the signs, and then I will listen for like a very short amount of time, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll take really productive rest, and I'll do it for an 8-hour stint, and then I'll get back to it, and I'll just keep running the same pattern of this panic survival response, where I'm just like running on a treadmill, not breathing in between any of life experiences, and everything is just something on the to-do list. From the minute I wake up till the minute I go to bed, that's what it's been. Is like, doesn't matter if it's yoga or breath work or meditation or having a shower, doing my dishes, like it's all just something to get off the list of the day. Because there is so many things on that survival mode list in order to feel some level of satisfaction, you know, at the end of the day. And I notice myself like count at the end of the day sometimes. I'm like, oh, I got so much done today. Like today was the best day because I got so much done. But I didn't experience any of it It was just like a hyperventilation, like through the whole day. And then so when I get sick, which happens like, I play the burnout dance where I'm like, I get really, really sick, or I like hit it really hard, get really sick, and then like for 6 months I'll be really good. Or I'll just like the trickle burnout is what I've been doing the last little bit, where it's like, ooh, I just get a little bit sick and then a little bit burnt out and then a little bit sick and a little bit burnt out. But I haven't been in a while. I really, really was on a real good trail. And I think these little moments where we have like our past come back, or what we used to do, or like a past part of ourselves, or like I lived in the victim mentality for so long. So when it comes back, I'm like, you mother effer, it's still, and I don't think that it's still here. I think it's one of those things that just need to come back up as like training in the gym, right? If we're in the gym of faith, it just has to come. It's like those little comebacks of those parts of ourselves. I don't know why I'm doing this. That feel, like when you like I had a freak out at Blue the other day. I was so mad at him, and I was like so upset with myself because I was like, oh, I don't do this anymore. Like, we don't do this anymore. But I did it, and I was very disappointed. I was really sad. I was feeling so much shame and all the emotions. And then it had really, like, I feel like I had finally learned the lesson because I had sat with all the feelings that were happening. I was like, okay, like, mother effer, I did that. Regardless of like how frustrating he can be, especially, and I think it was more or less just because I was having like a pretty bad day, and I wasn't paying attention, and I was super sick, and anyways, I didn't see him, and then all of a sudden he was like on the road, and we were on a path off the road, and you have to go through some brush to get to the road. So anyways, it was just a bad moment. It was a bad moment. And when I was able to forgive myself and sit with all the feelings that were coming up, I recognized that I have to pick my battles. And this is like the same thing that keeps coming up. Like, it's the same reoccurring theme throughout all of the lessons I've been getting lately, is like, what matters more? Is it your inner peace, or is it getting angry? Or, like some bullschlacka would happen. And, at one point, like, there were roofers here, and they would come, and then the roof would be leaking, and nobody would tell me. Or they would like take the skylights out, and nobody would tell me like, hey, we're gonna open up your roof. And then all of a sudden I was like in the middle of therapy or with a client, and they just like opened up my roof and were talking through the ceiling like God, unknowingly having a conversation above the skylight, and there would just be like these little moments of really, and it's like the middle of winter too, so it's freezing. So when they have like the skylight open in the middle, you're like, anyways, you look at me, shake my head even, like, I was so angry. And at one point, I just had to start laughing at it because I was like, man, I can't keep letting this wreck my day because this is happening. Like, okay, it's happening. You know, and there would be moments where like my table was then like covered in water because they tarped the skylight, and then it leaked, and it's on like where the table I keep my laptop on is, like all these silly little, you know, and it was just like training where it just kept poking me until I was finally like, I'm not gonna get mad because this is not ruining another breakfast. This is not ruining another one of my mornings. And yeah, so I think this message is just that training. So when I got sick, okay, so I get into like a new physiological reset, and that reset is it's like my nervous system just gets to be, it's a total nervous system reset, because the gas that's driving the car now is like a trusting. It's like I have trust in my ability to get things done. I have trust in the way things unfold and flow throughout the day, even if they're not how I planned. You know, I have like, there's a trust energy pushing the gas pedal, instead where before it was like a panic, anxiety, distrustful, I don't know if that's the right word, energy. Oh, I picked 2 cards. Oh, I'm not going to share these. These are my bedtime cards. Ooh, but actually I will share this part. It says receptivity and nourish. And so that's my reset, is I got into receptive and nourishing mode and out of the toxic masculinity, which is like the panic based doer. And so it's almost as if like recalibrating the divine feminine will allow me, my divine masculine, my healthy divine masculine within, to step forward and just like hold that space as I flow. And if at one point it needs redirecting, then he steps in, that energy steps in and can like redirect the receptive fluid flowy, you know. I don't know if any of this is making sense to y'all, but I believe in it. Realign. I believe what's coming through. And I believe that good things are coming. And so maybe there's a message in here. Maybe there's a message in here for somebody. I hate that I look like a little boy, but I'm going to post this anyways. If we change our physiological, so that's just it. Maybe the key to getting out of like running a survival pattern that your body is just like chugging like the choo-choo train, or the hamster that's on the wheel that can't get it off because now the wheel's spinning so fast, like the hamster just has to keep up. You know what I mean? Like when you get it going so fast and then it's basically just spinning because of momentum. That's when divine intervention comes in, has to stop us in our tracks, unless we can do it prior. So what would that look like? Becoming aware that the wheel is now just running itself and there's too much momentum. Stopping it in its tracks is like, oh, the universe sending you a hint, like a sore throat, or like, you know, a minor headache, or that you need rest, or just like lower back pain. You know, our body's signaling to us that we need rest. And if we take these subtle hints, like I know that my body is asking me to lay down. Like it's tired today, but I'm also just like, I've been in bed for 2 days, so I feel like that holds some kind of significance. But maybe this is a key. To get out of survival mode. Is to just put yourself in a little prison for 2 days. A little bed prison. When everything in you wants to fight rest. Rest. When everything in you wants to harden and put walls up. Soften and break down. Because generally, when the world is pushing it against us, and we've been taught to harden and close down, we should actually soften and open up. Wow. I don't know who said that, but that was profound. Oh yeah, I did. I said that. I don't think it was me. Mother Teresa is coming through. Maybe. I don't know why I just said that. Maybe. And so, one of the things that I discovered last night is that the process of initiation that many of the greats have gone through, and that great masters and teacher initiate their students through, involve this 3, you know how they say 3rd time's the charm? It takes 3 times to learn this level of mastery. And the reason I say that is because, what was his name? George Freeman, the boxer. Do you know who I'm talking about? There were several of them, but if you look at the pattern that each of these great individuals, like the woman that swam across the English Channel, or the other woman, what was her name? Names tend to slip away, but I remember their story. There was another woman that swam from Florida to Cuba, and it takes everybody 3 times. Like the great boxer, he boxed, in the first time he made it to championships or whatever, it was by will. And same with, actually I would have to rewatch the movies to see if this actually fits, but there's the same pattern. And so what I believe that initiation process to be, and this is fun because then we can look at our own lives and go, okay, at what level could I be at if I considered myself to be going through an initiation process? And if you feel called to be like a healer or a practitioner, or like just to be of service to the world, guaranteed you're going through your own version of this process. And so, I don't know. But the pattern is, the first level, the first attempt, or the first success, the first peak that you experience. You know, say you're training, champion, all the way to the top. And then you have a crash point. And then you do it again. But the first time you did it was with will. The second time you do it is by God, generally speaking. Or luck or miracle or like some level of grace. And I don't know if this is accurate at all. This is just what resonates for me. And then there is another low. And then there's the final peak point, where you stay at the plateau of the peak. There is no more drop after the third time's the charm. And I believe this to be true across the board. Whether you're learning from a master or you're mastering the art of life in whatever form that looks like to you, you know, in whatever art form calls to you. And all of world is art, so I mean, yeah. Cool. Good talk, everybody. Good night. Love you.